right, so we've got two more left, the eight sufferings and then the six root delusions or afflictions. So we'll start with the eight sufferings. So once again, try to settle the body. Try to adopt a stable, comfortable, upright position, serviceable for meditation. So think about keeping our feet flat and our back straight, torso open. Hands in the lap, right over left, with the palms upturned and the thumbs gently touching. Our eyes are gently closed or slightly open, making sure we let in enough light to remain alert. We try to maintain an awareness of not slouching, not leaning. But we also let go of any unnecessary tension or rigidity in the body, relaxing into a stable, comfortable, upright position, just allowing the body to fall into place. Begin to move the mind inward. Once again, letting go of thoughts of the past, plans for the future, letting go of what's happening in one's environment, constraining one's awareness to the body and mind, concentrating that awareness in the present by attending closely to the physical sensation that accompanies the in-breath and the out-breath in the space around the opening of the nostrils. Noticing quickly when anything other than that one physical sensation is arising in the mind, and then without judgment or frustration, lifting our awareness up from those distractions and placing it gently but firmly again and again on the breath. And then when the mind feels more calm, we generate again our altruistic motivation. So we think of the necessity of confronting, deeply understanding the nature of cyclic existence, its disadvantages, so that we can become truly disenchanted, truly weary of participating again and again without choice in this cycle of dissatisfaction, seeing only two choices in front of us, the same two choices in front of every other sentient being, either continuing to participate in being an ordinary sentient being, subject to karma mixed with delusion, or putting an end to that round of suffering and achieving, in this tradition, enlightenment. And so wanting to generate that strong wish on the basis of clearly seeing our options and choosing the one that is of greatest benefit. If we do continue to cycle, if we do continue to be subject to karma and afflictions, then we're in the same boat as everyone else, unable to truly benefit them. But if we end that for ourselves, then we gain the capacity to be of real benefit to others. So we take that as our purpose, creating those causes and those conditions to engage in stainless practice, practice aimed at not just higher rebirth, but aimed at liberation. So the first of the 8 sufferings is the suffering of birth. And this doesn't mean the process of rebirth. This literally means birth itself, coming into the world. Normally, we think of, for example, a child's birth as a joyous occasion, but subjectively speaking, it's quite jarring for that infant to go from quiet and dark and warm through the process of being squeezed out through the birth canal, feeling that pressure on the fragile body, and then entering a world of light and sound, breathing air. It's a shocking transition. It's quite unpleasant to experience. And it marks another lifetime of having appropriated contaminated aggregates, a body and mind that arose due to karma and delusion. So hold in mind the understanding that birth itself is suffering. And the second suffering is aging. And aging begins again from that first moment of conception as the cells begin to divide and differentiate. That singular process of change begins to unfold. The infant is already 9 months old at the moment of birth. And then from there, aging has two stages. The first stage is a growth stage where the body becomes larger, stronger, more competent. But then the second stage is one in which that process reverses. The body begins to decline. The body becomes more frail, less capable. Our memory also fades. Our cognitive skills can also be diminished. Our senses, our taste, our touch, smell, hearing, all of our senses begin to decline. We become more and more dependent on others. So think of in your own life the sufferings of aging that you've already begun to experience. And recognize there's only more of that to follow. And the third suffering is sickness. We've experienced sickness many times in this life. We may have come close even to death through sickness. We've seen the ravages of sickness in others. And when we are healthy, we worry about becoming ill. We worry about cancer, dementia, the financial strain that it could place. And there's no certainty in the duration of our health. It could begin declining rapidly, even today. Think of the pervasive suffering of sickness in your life and in the lives of others. Understanding that it's a byproduct of this contaminated form. And then comes the suffering of death, the separation from everything that one knows, from all of one's loved ones, one's possessions, one's status. Separation even from the familiarity of this body. In the end, it is the body, this thing that we cherish, care for, that fails. And if we live each day being certain that death won't come that day. And we pass this life without any real recognition of our death. And being unprepared is the worst way of having to experience that. So think of the fear and the confusion that often surrounds ordinary death. And the fifth and sixth sufferings are encountering what we do not want and being separated from what we do want. So, again, think over your daily life. How many times in a day that you encounter the unpleasant? And how many times in a day you find yourself having to separate from what is pleasant? We go through life trying to push and pull, but ultimately we're unsuccessful. We can never remain fully in contact with what's pleasant, nor are we ever successful in being completely separated from the unpleasant. This is the nature of cyclic existence itself. And the seventh suffering is grasping at all of our unrealized desires, the dissatisfaction that arises from not being able to contact what we want. This life is an endless sea of unrealized desires, always wanting more money, more status, better reputation, more comfort, more ease. Never being able to accumulate all of those. I think each time that we do reach a particular goal, we may feel a moment of satisfaction, but then we reach for something higher, better, and we may not get it. And then the eighth suffering is simply possessing the contaminated aggregates, having this body and mind that have as their origin past karma and delusion. They form the basis of suffering experiences. Neither the body nor the mind is fully within our control. We can't stop the body from experiencing pain, hunger, thirst, hot, cold. We can't stop the mind from giving rise to ill will, jealousy, malice, dissatisfaction, craving. So, no matter where we go in samsara, no matter what kind of rebirth we take, that body and that mind will have past karma mixed with delusion as its origin, and therefore will serve as the basis of suffering. Generate again a clear understanding that to exist in samsara is to experience suffering, not sometimes, but continuously. And allow that recognition to give rise to an unshakable determination to put an end to this experience, to create the causes and conditions to experience the state of enlightenment instead. Thinking then, will I be able to help every other sentient being to do the same thing? And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. And we'll dedicate. Due to the merits accumulated over the 3 times by myself and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, which are empty from their own side, may I, who is empty from its own side, achieve the state of enlightenment, which is empty from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are empty from their own side to that state as quickly as possible by myself alone. Because of these merits, may my actions never cause even the slightest harm to any sentient being. Instead, may they bring only the greatest of benefit. Whatever suffering or happy life I experience, may it be only of the greatest benefit to others, causing them to achieve enlightenment as quickly as possible. Like Lama Tsongkhapa, may I be able to offer extensive benefits, equaling the limitless sky, to all sentient beings and the teachings of Buddha, from now on in all future lives, by having all the qualities of Lama Tsongkhapa within me. Because of the past, present, and future merit created by me and all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and sentient beings, may I, my family, disciples, and all sentient beings be able to actualize completely in this very lifetime Lama Tsongkhapa's path of unified sutra and tantra, which is pure like refined gold. May this pure teaching of Lama Tsongkhapa spread in all directions and flourish forever. Because of all of the merits of the three times created by me and all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and other sentient beings, may there be no wars, famines, disease, quarreling, fighting, or unhappy minds. May there be great prosperity, and may everything needed be easily obtained. May all the human beings in the world be guided by spiritual leaders teaching only Dharma, and may everyone enjoy the happiness of Dharma. May everyone have perfect conditions and have only compassion and love for each other in their mind streams. And may they only benefit and never harm each other. May I and all others be able to live lives of pure moral conduct, like Lama Tsongkhapa himself, train the mind in bodhicitta, and live in pure view and conduct. In this way, may we be able to complete our lives without corrupting the pure wisdom of the second Buddha's teachings. Due to the merits of the three times created by myself and others and by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, may I, my family members, all the students and benefactors of the organization, and all sentient beings be able to meet perfectly qualified Mahayana virtuous friends in all our future lives. From our side, may we always see them as enlightened and always perform actions, only actions, most pleasing to their holy minds. May we always fulfill their holy wishes instantly. All right, we'll take a 10-minute break and come back at 2:21 Mountain Time. All right, any thoughts or questions before our final meditation? All right, so up until now, we've been looking at a lot of different ways of breaking down the disadvantages of cyclic existence, all of the sufferings that are incumbent upon cyclic existence. And with the final meditation, we'll look at the six root delusions, which are, because we've said again and again that samsara ultimately is the result of having appropriated contaminated aggregates on the basis of karma and delusion. So we'll look at kind of that engine of karma and delusion through the lens of the six primary root delusions, looking at their drawbacks and yeah. So again, try to situate your body in a stable, comfortable position. Bringing to mind your motivation for engaging in this practice. And taking a moment to quiet the mind by concentrating on the breath. And when the mind feels more calm, we begin to contemplate the disadvantages of anger. Anger is a mind that apprehends something that appears to be unpleasant and exaggerates the aspects that seem to be negative. And that gives rise to a wish to cause harm. So we may be on the receiving end of harsh words, and we, instead of responding with patience, we respond with harsh words. We hope to wound with our words. So bring to mind a situation within the last couple of weeks where you felt some anger arising in the mind. And see how that situation, that person began to appear to be entirely negative, as if they were made out of unpleasantness, made out of pain. Which in turn led to a sense of the situation being intolerable. Your body and mind became disturbed, unpeaceful. There was no clarity, no calm, no happiness in the mind or in the body. See if that's true in your own experience. And then think, when I was put in this challenging situation and I responded with anger, did it improve the situation? And did it lead to an action that I regret? Did it lead to strained relationships? Did it damage my well being, my health? And how many moments just in this one lifetime have I given in to the impulse of anger? And how much negativity have I been motivated to create under the influence of anger, even just in this one lifetime? And generate this strong wish to be completely free of this tendency in the mind, seeing it as negative. And next is the delusion of attachment. Attachment observes an object that seems to be pleasant and exaggerates its pleasant qualities and conceives of it as if it were made out of pleasantness, as if it were only pleasant, and feels as though one's happiness is dependent upon possessing it, being in contact with it. So think in your own life how this drive of attachment is operating. What for you are objects of attachment? Think of all of the times you've gotten objects of attachment. Have they ever been truly satisfying? Have you ever felt like, okay, that's enough now? Or is it like drinking salt water when you're thirsty? By following the impulse of attachment, has it led to contentment or has it increased the mind of dissatisfaction? Recognize that at the time of death, when strong craving and grasping arises, it will create the conditions to activate karma, to create yet another ordinary rebirth, keeping us bound to the cycle of suffering. So generate a strong wish to be free of this impulse, seeing it as responsible for so much suffering. And the third root delusion is fundamental ignorance. There's a coarse level of ignorance, which is just not knowing the law of karma, not understanding the Four Noble Truths. And there's a deep level of ignorance, a mind that actively misunderstands, misapprehends, a mind that observes impermanent phenomena, phenomena lacking inherent, findable, true existence, and apprehends them as if they had such a findable essence. And this is the most subtle, most basic cause of our trouble, our suffering, grasping at ourselves in an impossible way, apprehending the combination of body and mind as if it were findable, as if it possessed its own independent, self existent nature. Conceiving of such a self naturally gives rise to attachment and aversion, all of the other afflictions. Clinging to this separate, independent ego identity, giving it a status that it doesn't have. So see this ignorance as the enemy and wish to vanquish it with wisdom. And fourth is deluded pride. Deluded pride is a comparative mind, a mind that latches on to a perceived quality of oneself and thinks on the basis of that quality, I'm better than others. This mind of superiority. And we need to go through life putting others down. And this pridefulness prevents us from submitting to the training of the path, prevents genuine connection, and prevents even spiritual progress by denying the wisdom that sees others as equal. So I think that all of your good qualities actually come from the kindness of others. It comes from the teachings of the Guru in various lifetimes that you've practiced, become familiar with. It's due to the field of sentient beings with whom you engage in those virtues. And all of your worldly accomplishments and possessions also depend upon the work, the effort of others, providing you employment, safety, security, education, skills. You have all of this suffering that is caused by this deluded pride, seeing it as an obstacle on the path, and wishing to be rid of it completely. And fifth is deluded doubt. Deluded doubt is not an inquiring mind or a skeptical mind, but it's a mind that is closed off, that is firmly averse to looking at new information, challenging beliefs, investigating the teachings. A mind that simply dismisses. We may think that cause and effect don't really exist, things are random, or that enlightenment is just made up. When we think that the teachings only work for others, that I myself couldn't possibly attain the results that definitely come from putting the teachings into practice. This deluded doubt causes us to remain stuck, thinking that non-virtue is not serious, or that diligence won't lead to beneficial results. So think of those harms that come from indecision. Generate a resolve to investigate with an open mind, to apply the teachings in your life. And then there's wrong view, which is being firmly convinced of certain philosophical ideas that are incompatible with the teachings of the Buddha. If you hold the view that everything is random, or that everything is fated, or in the hands of some other creator being completely outside the sphere of one's own control, or that there's no real solution. And this is just the way that it is. Anything that you can firmly convince yourself of, and clinging to these beliefs, it doesn't allow the Buddha's wisdom to penetrate into the mind. Perhaps thinking that the mind is simply an emergent property of the brain and it completely ceases at death. Think of all of these mistaken philosophical ideas that would prevent you from even starting and be determined to put effort into studying authentic teachings, contemplating them deeply, and using your own direct experience to verify them. And then think clearly that every problem, every drawback of cyclic existence is the result of the ripening of some combination of these six root delusions. And generate the strong, unshakable determination to oppose them, uproot them completely. And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. And I'll dedicate. Due to the merits of the three times collected by me, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all other sentient beings, may bodhicitta, cherishing others, letting go of oneself, letting go of the I, which is the source of all the happiness and success of myself and all other sentient beings, be generated within my own mind and in the minds of all sentient beings without even a second's delay. May that which has already been generated increase. Due to the merits of the three times collected by me, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all other sentient beings, may all the Father Mother sentient beings have happiness. May the three lower realms be empty forever. May all Bodhisattvas' prayers succeed immediately, and may I be able to cause all this to happen by myself alone. Due to the merits of the three times collected by me, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all other sentient beings, may His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the Buddha of compassion, and all other holy beings, all our virtuous friends, have stable lives, and may all their holy wishes succeed immediately. Due to the merits of the three times collected by me, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all other sentient beings, may I be able to offer skies of benefit to all sentient beings, as Lama Tsongkhapa does, by having within me the same qualities that Lama Tsongkhapa has, from now on in all my future lifetimes. Due to the merits of the three times collected by me, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all other sentient beings, which are totally non-existent from their own side, may the I, which is also totally non-existent from its own side, achieve Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's enlightenment, which is also totally non-existent from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are totally non-existent from their own side to that enlightenment, which is totally non-existent from its own side, by myself alone, who is also totally non-existent from its own side. I dedicate all my merits in the way greatly admired by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the three times and realized by Samantabhadra and Manjushri. May I be able to completely actualize Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching, which unifies Sutra and Tantra, within my mind and spread these teachings in the minds of all sentient beings. Thus, may Lama Tsongkhapa's teachings flourish forever. All right, any thoughts or questions? We've reached the end of our retreat day.
I just want to reiterate when Matt said thank you for doing this with us, and good to see you, Matt.
All right, I'll send out the quiz today and it will be due in a week. It'll be like last time, basically an exercise to make sure that you understand the main takeaways of the module. But otherwise, enjoy having a couple weeks off until January. Next module on bodhicitta begins on that Monday, I believe the 5th. Yep, the 5th. Right, and Venerable Yinton, also she gets here on her first teaching is the 18th. Her retreat is the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th also. So her retreat is on establishing and building and establishing and deepening your meditation practice on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Yes, Matt.
Will her teachings be posted?
Yes, everything will be.
I might not be able to have some family functions in those days.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so everything will be posted, including the meditation workshop on the 3rd and 4th.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Have a great December.